When I went to US, there was so little information available on internet. I mean, I did not even know how bad the winter is going to be in Urbana-Champaign. But today, with one click and scroll, you can find all information about deadlines, scholarship, application process, interview questions, and even meet your classmates virtually right here from India. And that's the beautiful part about social media, isn't it? But there is also an ugly part to it, which I want to talk about today. Social media has the power of making really harmful advice go viral. And when that happens, students like you lose money, mental health, and even their future. In this video, I want to discuss 4 such bad advice that gets peddled on Instagram and YouTube about studying abroad. Let's get into it. Number 1 is study in Norway just to get some scholarship, or study in France because it's cheap. As soon as you hear cheap tuition fee or scholarship or study for free, most of the people forget that the goal of masters is not to get scholarship but to get to your dream career. Even if you study for free but you cannot find jobs later on, how is that going to help you? Every day I get messages from European international students asking for help in finding jobs. So I'm going to talk about a couple of European countries here. Now, did you know that only 7% international students were hired by UK companies last year? So sorry to burst your bubble, but UK education is good, you might get scholarship, but finding a job is not that easy. With France, the education itself is quite cheap, but can you really thrive there without speaking French? I don't think so. And then let's talk about Switzerland, where tuition fee is extremely low and you can even find scholarships worth 40 to 50 lakh for yourself. But getting a work permit is extremely hard and you will have trouble finding jobs later on. The exception I see in Europe is Germany, where at least for STEM fields, I've not seen people having trouble finding jobs. Now, whether it's good for business courses also, I'm not really sure. As opposed to this, US really does not advertise its scholarships. But there are funding opportunities available in form of TA, RA, and GA-ships, which we have covered in previous videos. In addition, the job opportunities and salaries for STEM and MBA students are higher in US than any other country in the world. This is why I guide my clients to apply only to STEM programs in US, Canada, and Germany because these are the proven destinations so far. My advice is, before deciding on any country, do proper homework about job opportunities for international students. How to do this? Contact current students and recent graduates on LinkedIn. Ask them, how did they find a job? Was it easy or not? And lastly, please do not rely on influencers alone to make such big life decisions. Don't even take my word blindly, okay? Please go do your own research and then make such decisions. Don't follow anyone's word blindly, please. Second awful thing I see on social media is things like, if you go abroad, you're going to start making crores and drive a Mercedes. Instagram is full of NRIs flaunting their new houses and fancy cars. It may seem like everybody in US is just living a millionaire-like lifestyle, but that's not true. Remember that US is really expensive, and while cars are cheap, finding maids, house help, or getting healthcare can be terribly expensive there. And as for high salaries in US, that is restricted to some of the STEM fields like computer engineering, product management, data science, or MBA professions like investment banking and management consulting. Apart from these fields, if you look at other things, the average salaries in US will be roughly around $60,000 to $85,000 per year, which converted to Indian rupee comes to around 70 lakh Indian rupees. And if you make the purchase power parity correction, that is equivalent to living a lifestyle in India with a salary of only 20 lakh rupees. So what I'm trying to say is, don't underestimate the amount of struggle study abroad students have to go through. And if you're going for study abroad, please be prepared to struggle and hustle there. Third thing you see is, go join a trending field like data science and your life will be set. Now let's think about it. What are some of the trendiest careers today? maybe product management, data science, UX designer, content creator. Now think back 10 years ago, many of these functions did not even exist. I mean, could anybody have predicted that content creators would rise up like this? Of course not. So, what I'm trying to say is, in today's world, when things are changing so fast, you really cannot predict what's going to be a good field 5 or 10 years from now. So stop chasing these trends and focus really on what you are good at. Because if you are not good at something, you are likely not going to succeed in it. For example, programming or coding, right? It's a really high paying career these days. But if somebody absolutely hates it, they are not going to do well in it. Now, I know that these influencers mean well. I mean, it makes sense to go for jobs or areas of specialization where, those fields are in demand. But I feel it's an incomplete advice. What the advice should be is go basically find your own strengths and then find high growth careers that employs these skill set. Now, here's how you can be smart about finding a specialization or career for yourself. Basically, look at all the trending fields and then figure out what is going to suit your personality or strengths. For example, let's say you are a creative person who hates programming and you want to ride the whole data analytics wave because it's a trending field, right? Now, in this case, if you go for a data science kind of a course, you're going to be miserable because it involves a lot of programming. But instead, if you go for something like business analytics course, you can really use your storytelling and visualization skills to thrive in these careers. So it really is important that you find a career which leverages your strength. So pick a career that is trending, but pick a part of it that goes well with your skill set. Lastly, a lot of social media looks like there's no future in India and everybody should just go abroad. As I've been saying, India is on a high growth trajectory. Our GDP is charted to grow at the fastest pace this year than any other country. Okay, so interesting things are happening and a lot of opportunities are opening up in India now that were unimaginable 10 years ago. All major tech companies are building big offices in India and we have started seeing a salary of like 15 lakh for MTech students. Now only a few students are getting those packages right now, but it will only keep improving from here. So all I'm saying is that if for some reason you are not able to go abroad and you have to stay back in India, it's not the end of the world. Of course, I'm a big fan of US and working there because I feel like the kind of work you can do in US is much more impactful and your career can grow much faster than any other country. But staying back in India in today's date is not the end of the world. So all I'm trying to say is whenever you see such advice floating on social media, don't be overtly influenced by it. Before making any major life decision, please do your homework and due diligence about it. Because ultimately, I want you to have a super successful as well as happy career because that's what matters, right? So find out what that means for yourself and whether it follows the social media advice or is against it does not matter. I mean, in my life, I've taken many decisions which nobody recommended. So always stick true to yourself. Tell me in the comments how today's video was for you, whether you agree with it or not really, and what are some other worrying advice that you see on social media. As always, we have important masterclasses that can help you crack the top most universities in US. So if you're applying there, please check out our masterclasses. I will leave a link below. And that's it for now. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.